Most people think sexual energy is just sex. Physical, relational, maybe spiritual if you're into Tantra. But when Thoth came through, he explained something I'd never heard before. That sexual expression, when fully embodied, is one of the closest moments humans get to source intelligent frequency. He called it lovemaking to the cosmos, not because it's sacred or holy, because in that moment of complete surrender to yourself, to another, and to source all at once, you're accessing a level of creative power most people never touch. Most never get there because they're stuck asking, how do I look? How will I be perceived? Am I even doing this right? The same question that blocks everything. So today, I'm bringing you into that conversation. Thoth's teaching on the life force energy, play without purpose, and the moment that stopped me and made me prove I actually believed what I was asking for was possible. Let your intuition sort through what lands. This is the cosmic frequency.
Greetings to you. We once more speak to you in a adequate frequency for this moment.
Who am I speaking to?
This is the frequency that holds the energy of Thoth.
Hello, Thoth.
Hello.
Why did you want to come through today?
We feel that it is useful for both exchange and conversation with you, as well as the vessel, to become more accustomed to our frequency. We have made many attempts to share our energetic signature in different forms to the vessel. There is resistance, but the vessel is not clear to hold us at much of a higher vibration just yet. These sessions will allow more of a connection and bond, as we have expressed to her that we wish to establish a relationship.
Was it easier this time?
No.
Okay.
There was less frequency of fear, but equal questioning, and the invitation alone to establish a relationship felt upsetting to her. We feel questions and connection are the best answer to developing greater awareness to both our frequency and that of trust.
Understand. Yesterday, I had an energy activation done, or shared with me, I should say, from the blue rays. Is there any wisdom or information you could add to that?
We are scanning your signature. We would suggest there is still work to be done, for there is still a disconnect from receiving the message in its entirety, such as the attempt to open and clear, to pave a path or set a path in motion. There was work done, yes. Yet we sense hesitation, as this was not intended in this activation. Meaning, the aligned or intended frequency to walk away from would be, we would say this language is not accurate. The aligned expression of what was intended to be absorbed was that of forward motion, excitement, positive reflection, play, curiosity. Yet, while these were in small part received, the frequency we sense the strongest is that of, how can I do this? How is this possible? This is the energy that needs to be released. We understand the human nature of your experience. Yet, what you wish to experience asks you to move beyond what is most common among your people.
Right.
Therefore, it would serve you better to look at this activation from the perspective of, I can, instead of, this is not easy to ask of me.
Okay.
Meaning, we would not be saying to you, this is needed, if this was not of your soul's choosing. Therefore, by this alone, you can. This is the essential part of what we want you to receive. Also, yes, there is a energy clearing or aligning that is taking place in your vessel to allow for more acceptance of this frequency and where you are going. This will not be the last, but each engagement helps you in where you are headed. Also, while the interest in the inner child is great, we would suggest not to discredit or look past the additional layers of this message as it relates to the use of life force through sexual expression. We sense there is still much adjustment that is needed in this area. We would also suggest that there has been many human years in which this frequency has caused frustration. There may not be a clear answer at this time that you can sense. Yet, we would encourage to be open and to allow the energy to move through you so that it may go where it wishes to go. This is one of the most powerful creative energies one can play with. Does this offer more insights into your experience yesterday?
Yes, it does. I guess the other question it brings to me when speaking about the sexual energy, because we can think of it very limited as in sexual experience only. So can you expand on that any more to help me understand all of its essence? I don't know if I'm asking the question.
We feel your frequency and perceive that we may perhaps understand. We would suggest we are seeking the words. This is complex to describe, as there is much to this topic not yet completely understood.
Okay.
Not simply by you, but of your people.
Okay.
We will attempt to express the essence of the allowance of sexual expression is one of the most powerful, surrendering, and potent embodiments you can have as a human vessel. Meaning, you share in a moment in which you are completely attuned to the frequency of, whether it be love, desire, lust, want, whatever it would be, you are completely embodied in the allowance of this energy in that moment. This causes a extensive energetic or magnetic response that then creates potent possibility swirling around the vessel. It is a moment in which you are the closest to the source intelligence frequency. The allowance of this powerful creation energy creates opportunities. When this energy, especially, is joint in harmonious union with another, not to say required, but potent, as the energies join, you are then increasing your, we are seeking for words, but power up.
Okay.
This is not wonderful, but adequate to express, like supercharging for a bigger response.
Okay.
The language is limiting, but we hope that is adequate. We will continue.
Okay.
As this happens, it does many things. It is beneficial to the individual, whom is embodying the fullest expression of frequency. We would suggest it is more potent the higher the frequency. Therefore, unity, intimacy, love will hold higher frequency than lust and desire or need. We would say lust, want, or need, as desire is perhaps the middle range.
Okay.
This then also adds to the increase in size of possibility. The reason why this energy is hard to express and not understood is the majority of those on your planet at this time are not capable of achieving a point in which they can be surrendered both to the embodiment of self and to another individual and to source all at once. This is the key. This is what makes this energy so potent. It is a full embodiment of self to other, the other embodiment for themselves, them embodiment to the other, and the unity to source. Now, if you look at the expression of, and we prefer to say life force energy, yet in this context, this is to be understood as sexual energy.
Okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
We say life force energy. This energy, when expressed in this way, is potent. Yet, this presently is not experienced by most, as this is held often in the frequency of need or in the frequency of must. This also is the frequency of how will I be perceived? There are personal judgments. How will I look? How will I be touched? How will I be satisfying? There is no surrender in this. There is a disconnect from this energy. Therefore, it is hard in your present reality. It is hard to feel completely embodied within the self. Share that with another, and they likewise, while also most essentially connected to the understanding of the powerful energy they are working with and connecting to source. You could say is more of a lovemaking to the cosmos. But while this is complicated, we would suggest that in understanding, or at the least being open to exploring with this energy, will be very satisfying. We will now separate our guidance as it relates to each of you individually.
Okay.
For you, we feel there is much to overcome when it comes to becoming comfortable with this frequency. This is, we would suggest, possibly very layered for you, not only from history, but also through your own unique experience in this world, in this reality, in your chosen identity, and how you feel comfortable. We sense a curiosity to play with this energy, experience this energy, but the gap feels larger to find your way to that place. This is why we suggest to start disconnecting or ceasing language of being numb to your life force energy. Be open and willing to communicate. Understand, however, there are certain journeys in which you are moving through, such as being comfortable with receiving, but also being comfortable in giving. Giving not because you sense the obligation or request or demand, but rather giving from surrender. Giving from embodiment. Giving from presence. We would say you are giving of your presence through love of another and to the greater cosmos. These things may take time, but also we would suggest opening. A simple way in which you can start that now is disconnecting from language of being numb.
Okay.
Become, yes, more playful. This is where the two are interwoven. Because while you allow yourself to express authentically and freely, you will find that you fall in love more and more with life. This will increase your ability to recognize your desire. You are, at this time, we would suggest, fairly guarded in your intimacy through connection. Yet, you are very comfortable with connection to nature. This is fine for now, but fulfillment for you will come through a complete opening in all forms. We feel this is enough guidance for you at this time.
Okay.
For her, this is a sensual energy in which she will, for quite some time, be embodying. This will and should increase for her as she proceeds on her intended path. We would say she is very capable in surrendering in the form of giving. She is very aligned in her ability to feel this frequency. She does well with disconnecting pressures on herself towards performance. That said, receiving will be difficult for her. Receiving will require a surrendering in which she is not as comfortable. This is fine and will take some time. We feel her progress as it relates to her comfort in her physical vessel and ability to overcome shame as she has been working. This will continue to strengthen and continue to express. The more she feels supported by life, the more her sexual life force energy will significantly increase. We would suggest there be conversation if and how this can align to both your experience and hers. We would suggest at this time it is good for the balance to be of that of her feeling confident or excited or comfortable in giving, while you are healing in the ability to receive. With time, you will strengthen in your bond. There will be, and we are reluctant to elaborate at this time, for we feel her not completely ready to hear or receive, yet we would suggest simply that there will be more of a relevance in understanding and working with this frequency for her in the work she does. If you have specific questions now on anything said, we would be happy to answer.
So, the most basic and probably silly question is, are you saying we should be engaging in more sex?
We would not word it that way.
Agreed.
We would word it as if there was openness, and we don't prefer the word work to be done. We would suggest in bonding, communication, and where you are comfortable, in the moments you are both comfortable, being open. For if we were to say you must participate in sexual exchange, this would be counterintuitive to the surrender we suggested is so essential.
Agreed. When we talk about me playing more with life, and I've heard several times, allow it to not make any sense. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that play is embodying that inner childlike energy.
Correct. But we would say further.
Okay.
You wish to experience the unexplainable.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. A good way in which you can do this is by participating in the unexplainable. Forcing, we don't prefer this word as it suggests a requirement. There is an energy essential to choice, yet force may not be the appropriate word. Yet we would say, when navigating in the unexplainable, the unpredictable even, there is a certain level in which one must take actionable steps to choose to walk the path less traveled. We would say, such as choosing in small ways now to do what is uncomfortable, what is unexplainable, what is lacking in purpose, would complement the energy moving forward. Such as, if you can make a recipe with unusual ingredients for simply the purpose of play, this is because, whatever that because is, it is just so. But this is energy in which reprograms the brain to feel or think or behave differently and to disassociate with purpose. This then, in time, sets the tone for when the brain is experiencing things without rational explanation. So while it may seem vague or senseless, it indeed has much purpose in where you are headed. Now, it would not be exciting, perhaps, to do some things that are without purpose versus others. This is then where play comes in. Do the things that are unusual yet inspire curiosity and play. We would suggest the more purposelessness they seem, the better.
Okay.
Does this make sense?
It makes total sense. I'm just not sure what to do. Or how do I start that?
We would suggest to either make choice to play in this fashion, or better yet, to trust that the inspiration will hit.
Okay. I like that.
You may find certain forms of experimentation through creation or the hands, like we loosely say, like children would do at early age, such as, what if I mix these things together? What if I attempt to create color through this object that is not paint, yet may have color? Is it able to produce color, a specific color? These are curious things that also we connect to alchemy. Creation through curious experimentation. Does this assist?
Yes, that does. When the question of sexual energy, when I can feel Cassandra's intense sexual energy, it can feel almost like she wants to devour me versus being intimate with me. Or is that accurate? Or am I not getting that frequency correct?
We like this question as it is layered.
Okay.
First, we would suggest the possibility in which your interpretation may be influence through prior experience.
Okay.
We also would add this inform contributes to our suggestion that in the future there will be more conversation, as we have hinted.
Okay.
Her sexual expression will continue to grow.
Right.
That said, we would suggest what you are sensing is simply the intensity unfamiliar to you as her ability to completely surrender in that frequency. With this, there can be, yes, a natural intensity that forms due to the level of surrender. This is not necessarily a frequency of need or taking, yet there is a intensity of surrender in which formulates a desire to participate with you. Therefore, we would suggest it is not something you should ever feel as if you must. Yet, you can work together. If you wish for us to answer the question specifically, is her intention to devour you? The answer would be no.
I didn't really think it was. It's just that's the way it feels. So I'm trying to figure out how I allow the intensity and how we both allow it to shift.
We would suggest we are seeking language. One moment. We wish to share words.
Okay.
In a form of example.
Okay.
These are words that could be considered in communication. In this example, we would say, I can sense your intensity in desire to engage with me. I appreciate this expression. I desire to be open with you in balancing this expression to create comfort for me and to participate with you. There can be conversation in which you can express, I wish to participate. May we move slow. May we have softer touch. May we join through the heart chakra. There is language in which we are attempting to express to you now. This may not suit the romantic or emotional nature of the experience, but we're hoping it can assist in seeing what we are saying would be preferable to exchange between one another.
Okay.
Did we adequately do this?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else you feel we need to know at this time?
This is very open. Can you be more specific? There is a lot in the universe.
Yes. There's a lot to understand.
And limited language and expression.
Yes.
Therefore, this question is large.
I understand. My apologies.
No need.
I guess what I'm trying to get at for me is,
We would stop you.
okay,
What do you really want to know right now?
how I can embody more play and openness and not hold myself back.
We feel sadness. You feel this is possible? To what extent do you feel this is possible? We are asking you, can you do this?
Yes, I can do this.
Say that again.
Yes, I can do this.
That is what you need to hear. You need to give yourself those words.
Okay.
There are things that can be said to you by us, by others, by partners, by friends. But what you're really needing is to feel the feeling we felt the second time you said, yes, I can do this. This is what you need. Does this make sense?
It makes sense.
And we would add that, yes, you can do this. It is not, we wish to say words that we feel will cause resistance, but we will say them.
Mm-hmm.
It is not that hard.
I agree.
The difficulty is in judgment.
Mm.
This should be easy.
Okay.
Or at least we would say, this can be easy for you. You want this.
Yes.
You want this greatly.
Yes.
We feel that. You can do this. Don't get caught up in the unusual call of the mission.
Okay.
A child does not care how it plays in comparison to another. You can do this. Does this assist?
Yes, it does greatly. Thank you.
You're welcome. We feel this was a productive conversation.
Yes, it was.
Is there any last questions before we part?
No, just that I can't wait to talk to you again.
We enjoy these exchanges as well. We would bid you well.
After this conversation, I made it my goal every day to play like a child. I started writing on Substack simply to write again. I didn't tell anyone. I just allowed myself to create for the joy of it. I never expected it would grow into what it is today, or that the things I thought that were silly and not that meaningful would be what resonated most. Turns out I was wrong about what matters when I create from my feeling state rather than my thinking state. The first time Thoth asked if I could do this, I said yes automatically. The second time, I felt it shift, because the difficulty was never in the doing. It was in believing it shouldn't be this hard. A child does not care how it plays in comparison to another child. Think about that. And when you're ready, there are more conversations waiting for you.